So now we're on to our next item, which is called Life is a Challenge, Meet It. We'll be hearing from 5 sisters, and they are Marine, Jaina, Mina, Vicky, and Zarina. They'll all be talking about the basically life during lockdown, experiences they've like challenges they've faced, and how they're getting through it, and or how they may have overcome obstacles during this difficult time. So first we'll hear from Marine. So pass it over to Marine now. Thank you.
Sairam, dear sisters and aunties. My name is Marine and I go to Nabro Science Center in Leicester. In the days leading to the lockdown, I was really nervous and worried about being on lockdown, especially because I live alone. However, the first few weeks were all the opposite from what I had imagined. So I work as a learning support assistant for special needs students. And since the start of the lockdown, we did not go to work, but we had to keep in touch with students and colleagues and look after them, check on them. And my role online has been to check on certain students, support them if needed, and support the English department. It did feel really strange not to go into work, but we actually learned to look after each other from home, and we had to check on students by email. So it taught us a different approach to work. And I also did a 6-week training to improve my knowledge on how to understand students' needs better. So it enables me to actually be a better person at work when I do go back to work. I had finally time to be with myself, and I had no choice but to appreciate my own company during this lockdown. I took the time to plunge into my passions, as well as discovering skills which I was not confident about, or I wasn't really sure that I had in myself. I did have some moments where it was suddenly very hard to be on my own, and I had to be very strong inside of myself. It was particularly difficult when my granddad in France got the virus, and he went to hospital. As he has always had issues with his lungs, I was really worried and thinking he might not make it, and I can't even see him because he lives far away, he's in France and I'm in the UK. So my family and I prayed for him, as well as few of my close-eye family. Miraculously, after 2 or 3 days, the fever completely dropped. And that was a big miracle for us. He quite quickly did not need the oxygen anymore, and he managed to come out of the virus completely. So it just shows how things don't always happen the way we think it will happen, but rather the way God wants it to happen. And during all these last few weeks of lockdown, I connected to my inner self. I learned to talk to Swami more inside of myself. Going within has been what made me cope all this time. Swami also made sure I was not bored at all. He kept presenting me with opportunities or activities where I could express my skills and love for him. The International Vedic Project was also started during this period, and I got asked to be one of the Vedic teachers for the UK and also the resource persons for the UK, therefore connecting me to the International Veda team. So that was a big thing for me, as I've always liked to promote Vedas, like Swami asks for it. Also with Swami's grace, I had to produce 2 videos for it, which made me plunge into Vedas even more and connect to him, as I had to talk about the importance of Vedas. So it made me really focus on the importance of Vedas even more. So Swami always pushes me to go into it more and more. I got the opportunity to connect with the Sai Center in the US, also thanks to a Sai friend who lives there, and to sing a bhajan. I took part in the study circle and in a satsang where again the topic of Vedas was brought up, and it was all Swami's will. And something really touched me there. So there was a Sai student who was part of this group, and she confessed to me that she had been going away from Swami, and as per her words, hearing me and seeing my devotion towards Swami touched her so much that it made her feel like she wanted to come back to Swami. So that really, really touched me. And on a different note, on 2 specific days of this whole lockdown, my day was filled with various activities. For the whole day, I was doing something relating to Swami, and my mind was dwelling on Swami the whole day. And I actually felt drained mentally in a strange way, in a divine way, of course. So these are the 2 days after which Swami came in my dream and gave me his blessings and talked with me. And it really touched me and made me realize how important it is to always connect to him, and how beneficial for us it is at all levels to always think about him at all times. Thank you so much for listening. Jai Sai Ram, and now over to Sister Jaina.
Thanks, Maureen. Jai Sai Ram, everyone. So I'm Jaina from Wolverhampton Sai Centre, and at the start of lockdown, I was actually furloughed and went from being really, really busy all of the time with barely any evenings and weekends free to having loads of time. So at first, I found it really difficult to adjust, as I just felt a little bit lost with what to do and having a purpose, even though my mom had loads of housework and cooking and decorating, gardening and organising and other housework for me to do as well. But at the start, it was really nice to have all of the family home at the same time, especially my little sister Karina, who had to move home from living at uni. But it was also very weird and testing that everyone was always there and in each other's space. And I think I started to get cabin fever. I was quite snappy with everyone. But then I started to adjust and I developed more patience. And I also had the understanding that it wasn't just me going through this situation, but everyone else as well. So I also found that when I gave my day more structure and a schedule again, that helped me to feel better and more productive. So both my parents are more at risk of the virus. So it meant that I had to step up and do the grocery shopping. And although I did know how to shop before, shopping for a family of 5 is a little bit different. I honestly didn't realise how much preparation it takes to decide on meals, and therefore the shopping list items, and also just how much food we all eat in general, now that we were having 3 meals a day and snacks at home. So I definitely learned that skill and how to be a lot more resourceful. And I'll be sure to help my mom more with this in the future as well. So one thing that helped me to keep positive energy was having structure to my day, but also doing productive things as well. And it might seem like a really small thing, but doing 9 Gayatri mantras at 9 p.m. every day has really brought the family together. As no matter where we are in the house, we all come together at 9 and sit together without fail. And we've even started our own funny little traditions, like who has the biggest Vibhuti channel afterwards. So I think that's turned into a routine now, and we'll definitely continue to do that. Other things that have kept me productive are getting more involved with service projects as well. So as the service coordinator for Wolverhampton, I had a lot of organising to do with food collections for the homeless and food banks, and also the Visor project as well. And this has definitely helped me to become more organised, but also generally better at communicating with people as well. So I volunteer as a driver to drop food off to people's addresses from the food bank. And although this is the type of project that has been a continued thing in Wolverhampton, I think this is the first time where I've actually really felt and understood how much of a difference we can actually make to people's lives. And also that so many people really rely on these services. So whilst making deliveries in underprivileged areas, my eyes have really been opened to the fact that some people face challenges that I've never had to face. And it's so easy to quickly judge someone and make assumptions without actually knowing them. But we have to remember that, as Baba says, love all, serve all. And showing people that you care really makes a huge difference. So this has really helped me to be more mindful in everything I'm doing. And also, I initially thought that having lots of free time wasn't a good thing, but in one sense it's actually forced me to take more time out for myself, and to focus and reflect on things a lot more. I've realized that I can't take things for granted, and I've developed a more almost positive state of mind just by being more accepting and having more gratitude to everything, even little things like taking walks or sitting in the garden or finishing a jigsaw or reading or catching up with people. They aren't just trivial things, but they're all important tasks that keep us grounded. And as we come out of lockdown, that's definitely a mindset that I will take with me and try to adopt and continue to practice daily. As when you allow your inner light to shine brightly, you become a beacon of love, radiating this light to others. So yeah, I've learned a lot of skills this lockdown, especially DIY and cooking. But I'm so grateful that we've had a chance for this experience, which will probably never happen in the same way again. Jai Sai Ram. And over to Meena Auntie.
My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Swami. My name is Meena and I attend Birmingham Sai Centre. We own a post office on a busy high street in Sutton Coldfield. Lockdown was introduced on the 23rd of March. It had an immense impact on our family life and business. My husband wasn't feeling too well and had the symptoms of the virus. I too felt unwell. We had to furlough the staff and self-isolate for 3 weeks. From working 6 days a week to nothing was a challenge. Everything we are experiencing currently in our lives comes about in order to assist us in evolving to a higher level of consciousness. Even what we now perceive as bad, sad, negative or upsetting is here to assist us in seeing life in a more peaceful, forgiving and loving way. We prayed to Swami and maintained optimistic. Staying at home gave me the opportunity to have quality time with my family. When we opened the business, it was only half a day, which gave me a good balance in life, kept our customers happy who appreciate the work we do. I spent a lot of time with my daughter who's 15, Tisha. We would start the day with meditation and light yoga. When the weather is sunny, we enjoyed gardening, going on family walks and appreciating the clean air around us. We would cook and bake together. We had more time to plan healthier meals. Here are some of the activities we have been doing together. So we've been doing some embroidery, which gives Tisha some time out from studying and doing her online schoolwork. We've done cross stitch, which we've enjoyed doing together. We've also made a gratitude frame, which was part of her SSC homework. And we have a gratitude journal, which we write in positive thoughts every day together. We have a folder here with all the good work that the NHS has done about COVID-19, and it's all newspaper cuttings for a keepsake since March. Okay. We have been making face masks for our customers at work, the elderly, and we've also helped the Sri Sati Sai organisation make visors. We've distributed these to local nursing homes and Good Hope Hospital. On VE Day, I cooked 35 meals to raise money for the NHS, and being mindful of what we use in the house, trying to get rid of plastic, being eco-friendly, which we're managing quite well. We join in with online prayer sessions and discourses every day. We also spend a little time practicing bhajans and Vedam. This gives both my daughter and myself encouragement to learn and improve. We have also managed to watch a series on Netflix called Buddha, which I highly recommend. With Swami's grace, we have managed to do so much with our time. When Swami is by our side, no time is a difficult time. He is the doer. To conclude, it's been made highly evident that the lockdown has been didactic and constructive. It's taught me to go within, do seva whenever I can, sealing on desires, always be happy, forget the past, live consciously in the present moment and don't think about the future, accepting each day as a blessing. I am grateful I am in Swami's fold and I have a loving Sai family with lots of sisters I can talk to. I thank the organisers for giving me this opportunity to share my challenges throughout this pandemic. Jai Sai Ram. I forward this next to Vicky.
Jai Sai Ram, everyone. My name is Vicky. I've used to attend Coventry Sci Centre, grown up there as a SSE student and as a youth as well. Currently I attend Birmingham and Coventry from time to time. So I wanted to share a journey that the lockdown period has given me, because it's not probably been as straightforward for me as it maybe has been for others. Just listening to the things that Mina Ben and Jaina have talked about, and the ways in which they've served, I think serving from my perspective has been quite different. So life before lockdown was pretty full on. I'm a mother of two, and I'm also a consultant psychologist. I work for Birmingham Women's and Children's Hospital and for the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Branch. So I oversee a service that works with young people and their families who have quite complex and vulnerable needs. A lot of my young people are at risk of exploitation, both criminally and sexually, and we have a lot of challenges in terms of supporting these families. So they are the most hard to reach families in Birmingham. So life before lockdown was just pretty crazy. I was ferrying kids around, working full time. My husband worked full time, and we'd embarked on a house renovation and remodeling project, which still isn't finished, but we worked through that. So when lockdown was announced, I thought to myself, wow, this is brilliant. I get to work from home every day. I can be at home, no traveling. But actually, life became even more busier. There were strategy meetings. There were, sort of daily Zoom meetings every day. And I'm sure some of you guys will be able to relate to that. And I found that actually all the things that I'd maybe earmarked for myself to do, yoga, more meditation, more stuff with the kids, wasn't actually happening. So it felt like I was sort of drowning with the work and sort of not really being able to focus on the areas that I wanted to. And on top of my day job, I became a teacher as well. I was a cook full time. I was a cleaner. I was everything under the sun. So, and also being a wife as well. I think most of you will be able to relate to the needs there as well. So I had to stop and I had to think. I needed to rethink. I needed to review. I needed to recharge, and I needed to retry things. So what I've learned from lockdown during this period is actually things can quite easily move out of balance. As a psychologist, it's always, it's about being self-aware and being able to self-reflect. And for me, I needed to stop and I needed to slow down. So lockdown has helped me to slow down and start thinking about what matters to me. So after I went through this period of actually things were feeling pretty heavy and full on, I started to reflect on the journey. And what I've learned is the first step was acceptance. I needed to accept that this was the situation, this is what it needed to be, and I needed to do something constructive with that. Once you accept something, you then go on a process of acknowledgement. You acknowledge your limitations, you acknowledge the challenges, and you welcome those. And with that humility, you start to open yourself up to the possibilities, to the universe as well. So there was acceptance, and then there was a focus on the present moment. What does the present moment bring for me, and how can I focus in on that present moment? Just like Mina Ben, we binge watched the Buddha series on Netflix with the children and learned some wonderful messages from that. And I think they were really apt messages for this time and this moment. Messages, the philosophical ideas of detachment and equanimity, and, sort of thinking about how meditation can help us really balance and rebalance and recharge our lives. So again, I would highly recommend this. And I think it's important to acknowledge, our limitations from time to time. It feels like we have to do everything. And psychologically, that can really wear us down. As women, it's, and I wanted to reflect back on Devika's speech earlier, that, you know, there are so many challenges that we face, but it's important that we take time for ourselves. So part of that was around self-directed compassion, you know, taking time for yourself, focusing on yourself, doing the things that matter to you, that are important to you, and developing a mindset that, you know, everything is achievable, but you need to be able to understand those limitations. So gratitude was again a key part of this. Again, I was grateful for the fact that I could come down and sit next to my children and work with them. I was grateful for the fact that I was able to start enjoying my new home with them as well. And I was thinking about gratitude and the discussions earlier that were being held. And one of the things that really pointed out to me was the idea of humility. And actually, a prerequisite to gratitude is humility, because you're surrendering yourself and you're giving acknowledgement to the higher power that is present in your life. So all of those things helped me to slow down during lockdown. And I think thinking about moving forward, coming out of lockdown isn't going to be so easy. We've all experienced collective trauma. And once we come out of this phase, there will be a period of what we call post-growth, post-trauma growth and recovery. And that's really when all of our spiritual practices and our knowledge base will come into their own fruition, and help us to move forward in a way that helps us to seamlessly shift our mindsets towards moving forward in a positive and optimistic way. So thank you to everyone for sharing their wonderful thoughts and ideas. And I'll now pass on to Sister Z. Jai Sai Ram.
Hi, thank you, Vicky. Hello, ladies. Thank you for inviting me to this retreat. It's really nice and it's been very relaxing. A little bit about me. I'm a counsellor for the Ethnic Ward in Wolverhampton, and Manisha and her daughter invited me to this session. I'm just sharing, basically. I think mine was the opposite of Vicky's. I became more busy as I felt the need to go out and help people, because I was fortunate to be able to help and get out there. We started from day one, doing 7 days a week, right up until now. We're just going down to 1 day a week. It's been a long journey, but we've met some really lovely people, and just staying positive. I think that's the key to everything. If you're positive, that'll resonate with the people that you take the food to, you speak to. It's turned out that we've been cooking 130 meals each week and taking those out. It's not everybody has a palate for spicy food, as we realised. We've been blessed to have various organisations supporting us, and we had one such thing with our local MP and myself and Councillor Samuels. We've had over 150 pensioners a Sunday roast. And again, it's just the positivity and meeting people on the journey and taking those people to the next journey, because that's important, I think, for everyone, that we all meet for a particular reason and to make things better going forward. And tapping on to what Vicky said, the next phase is coming out of lockdown, because I think that's where we're going to have a lot of issues as well. And if everyone coming together with the positivity, self-reflection and conditioning of the mind, we're ready for that next hurdle. Also, I'm seeing it on a daily basis when I visit people to drop the food off, how it's impacting on them, especially with the elderly who are isolated. And, you know, I can see a mental health crisis coming from this. But with the positivity within this group that I've just heard in just one session, I think we've got a good benchmark to approach this and help other people, because that's what it's about. It's helping the next person to you. It's okay you being okay, but you don't know what they're going through. So sometimes it's best to stop and just think about the other person. And I think that's what keeps me going, helping people and getting out there. You know, I think that's what we're here for, and that's our journey. And I think we should all reflect on that. And I think if everyone carried on that virtue, it would go far going forward and helping everybody. And from the pandemic, I found it's brought the community together as opposed to dividing it. And if we can keep these groups going post-COVID, I think society will be a better place for everyone to live in. You know, and I've been blessed to meet Manisha and her daughters and say, and we'll keep this journey, keep going. And that's all from me. Thank you, admin.